Good morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time here. Live Weather Blog's meteorologist Bob here for you with today's tropical update for Tuesday, September 14, 2010. Got a lot of things to talk about today, so let's get right to it. We have Hurricane Igor. He has weakened just a little bit overnight. When I say weakened, he's still a strong Category 4 hurricane. Maximum sustained winds are down to 135. Movement is to the west-northwest at 8, so that turn to the west-northwest that I was talking about that would happen overnight has begun. It's currently centered at 17.9 north, 51.7 west. This was as of the 5 a.m. advisory. And we have a minimum central pressure of 945. So again, track forecast has not changed much. I was kind of hinting, if you listen to my evening broadcast, I was hinting that this might start making a move, and it might actually move to the east of Bermuda instead of right over the island or to the west. And I'm still thinking that might happen here. I'll show you some of the models and some of my thinking here in the moment. And again, boy, we want this to shove east of Bermuda. We don't want Bermuda to have a direct hit. But anyway, here's the official forecast track. Again, this should maintain a Category 4 to a Category 3 status for the next 48 to 72 hours. There will be some fluctuations in strength. We can't predict eyewall replacement cycles, so but there's really nothing stopping it from really weakening quickly in the next 48 to 72 hours as it makes its move. We'll have west-northwest today, and then tomorrow it'll start to begin that northwest trek. So here's the official forecast track. And you can see the wide range in error as we get up towards Bermuda. Bermuda is such a little point, so really to predict where this is going to go, don't follow, as the National Hurricane Center, which is great, they always point this out, don't watch the line here. I mean, this is the era. More and more my thinking is we're not going to see it out here. All along I was thinking near Bermuda. I was kind of thinking maybe a little west of Bermuda, but yesterday I started changing my tune a little bit, and I think this is going to start shifting east, and it may even come into this side of the cone, and that would be good news. Bermuda wants to see it come like right about in here. The east side of the storm is always the strongest, so Bermuda doesn't want this kind of hit. So hopefully this kind of trend will continue, and maybe it'll move east of Bermuda. That's kind of my thinking right now. All the west casters, it's not going west. I know we could think it's coming to the east coast. It's not coming to the east coast. East coast will not get affected by this storm. I've been saying this all along. Again, rip currents, heavy surf, that'll be affecting the East Coast over the weekend. So starting on Friday and then through the weekend, surfers, good news for you, inexperienced swimmers, be careful. Same thing for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands later today and tomorrow. High seas, heavy surf, swimmers, definitely inexperienced swimmers, be careful. And here it is. Here's Igor this morning. You saw the cloud tops kind of warming overnight, kind of about the same, looking a little better organized this morning, so we might see a little uptick in strengthening today, unless we get an eyewall replacement cycle. We'll have to watch for that today. It's kind of overdue for one of those, so, and if that happens, that could halt strengthening for a while. You saw that west-northwest move during the overnight, and then that'll continue today. And then tomorrow we'll kind of see that northwest move far away from the islands. This will not be affecting any of the island chains. And again, the bigger picture, and what I was showing you, if anybody was listening yesterday evening, I was showing you how this trough was really nice, in a nice position to really hook this away. And you could see right here, it's digging very well, especially right here in the water vapor loop. So that's why I'm even thinking this could shove a little east of Bermuda, and boy, that would be good news. We'll have to, again, kind of fine-tune that forecast the next day or two, but more and more likely could shift a little east of Bermuda. And again, great news for them if that could happen. But again, Bermuda is such a small point, and track error is kind of big up here. If you're going to Bermuda or living on Bermuda, you got to really watch this system, of course, very carefully. And then we'll look at the bigger picture here. So here's that trough, broad trough, and then here's a little short wave that's moving through Kansas and Missouri right now, and this will enhance that trough. So this is going to dive down and keep that trough right in here. So good news for the East Coast again. Not going to come near the East Coast with this one. And again, wind shear very good. Upper high over Igor right now. Wind shear will be good for the next 48 to 72 hours. And then wind shear picks up as it gets towards Bermuda, as it interacts with that trough, so westerly shear. So we should see about a category 2, 1 to 2 as it passes by Bermuda. It's not going to be a major hurricane once it gets up towards Bermuda because of wind shear. But right now I'm looking at a 2, possibly even a 1, but probably more likely a category 2 as it passes near Bermuda. And again, the steering current, you can see this is going to move west-northwest and then northwest as that broad trough is still in here. And again, models, the consensus consensus brings it over Bermuda or just to the east. That's pretty much been steady for the last 24 hours. UK Met model, still western outlier, but like I told you, we'll know whether these western outliers we're going to verify. And since we're starting to move west-northwest already, these aren't going to verify. Even the Canadian was a little west, but then moves quickly off to the northeast. So we're discounting that right now, and we have pretty much the consensus over Bermuda or just to the east. And again, the models, the intensity models, again, major hurricane, category 4, category 3 for the next 48 to 72 hours. That's right in this area. And then again, once it gets towards Bermuda, we're looking at a category 2 hurricane, maybe even a 1, but more likely right around that category 2 status as wind shear begins to affect it. Individual models, GFDL, which, hey, this could be the first time the GFDL has actually been pretty much right on the whole time. Track forecast so far looks pretty good for GFDL. And again, brings it just east of Bermuda. And again, if this could shove a little farther east, that would be good news for Bermuda. GFS, about the same, pretty much brings it right over the island and then out to sea. And again, this is great news for our friends in Canada as well, as this is looking more and more likely it's going to steer away from them. So good news for you guys as well. And then again, the Euro model's been about the same with Igor, bringing it just west of the island of Bermuda and then out to sea. We've also been watching, which I'll tell you in a minute here, Invest 92L. A lot of the global models still trying to develop the system right before it gets to the Yucatan, and then brings it close to a hurricane in the Bay of Campeche. So we'll be watching for that as well through the rest of the week and into the weekend. All right, next up, our newest hurricane. This is hurricane number 5 for the season, Hurricane Julia. Way out in the eastern Atlantic. This will not affect any land. It's not going to affect Bermuda, just for shipping interest. But we should see this moving. It's moving west-northwest at 12. We'll see a northwest move in the next couple days as a trough in the eastern Atlantic kind of pulls it to the northwest. We're going to see kind of that stair-step pattern. Trough brings it to the northwest. High builds back in, and then we'll see west-northwest. And then finally, the trough that's going to be kicking Igor out to sea will then kick this out to sea and bring it more towards the northwest, then north, and then out to sea. Igor's outflow will be affecting it in cooler waters in here, although not very cool waters, but mostly Igor's outflow will kind of weaken it, as we saw with the interaction between, what was that, Fiona and Earl. We saw that interaction with outflow. So again, Julia should weaken in this area here, probably back down to a tropical storm. But it should be pretty much category 1, category 2 hurricane the next couple days. And again, just for shipping interest for Julia. And here's the models from the Weather Underground, and you can see that same pattern. Again, Western outlier, UK Met, discount this guy. But basically this kind of northwest, west-northwest, and then out to sea it goes. And let's just look at Julia real quickly here on the satellite view, and you can see it looking really, really healthy today. We're actually starting to see a little bit of an eye feature starting to develop as this convection's trying to wrap around it. So Julia should slowly strengthen. Like I said, we could see this thing get up to about a category 2 hurricane as it then begins its trek towards the northwest. And what else do we have out there? Well, how about Invest 92L? If you were listening yesterday evening, I said, boy, this thing looks like it's starting to get itself together. Although the National Hurricane Center never upped the chances, which is, as you know, I hate that new colored 20, 30, 40, 50% chance thing. I can't stand it. I think it's very misleading at times. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that. But so it looked like the center, the circulation was starting to tighten up yesterday evening, and we've seen the continuation of that. And You can see it right now. Convection starting to form around this center of circulation, and this looks like it's ready to get going. Hurricane hunters are tentatively scheduled to fly in this afternoon, and if this continues, I think they're going in today. This is looking better and better organized. Although, like I said, the National Hurricane Center still only gives this 40%, maybe because it's getting close to land. I don't know. You would think if this continues, we could see a tropical depression or even a tropical storm before it moves over the Yucatan or northern Belize, extreme northern Belize, by later tomorrow. So it still has a good 24 to 36 hours before it does move on to land. So, but anyway, this looks like it's going to get going here. Again, it has land in front of it, so if it crosses over the Yucatan, but once it gets into the Bay of Campeche, we could see this reignite, and could even see a hurricane out in the Bay of Campeche before it makes landfall in Mexico. It would be, if it does get a name, next name up is Carl. And again, wind shear with this has been great all along. We've just been waiting for that spin to tighten up, and it looks like it's starting to. So wind shear shouldn't be a problem with this system. That's why I'm thinking we could see a tropical depression or tropical storm before it reaches the Yucatan. And again, the models with this system, this is Clark Evans' product. I like to show you different models, displays. It just makes things interesting than seeing the same thing over and over again. Clark Evans, again, west-northwest, and then into the Bay of Campeche, and then pretty much west. May even dive a little west-southwest. We have strong high pressure. It's going to protect Texas this time, protect the northern Gulf Coast. So if anybody casts this to go to the north, it's not coming to the Gulf, not even coming to Texas. This is going to maintain that west track. So, but again, it could have time. You've seen these things ramp up in the Bay of Campeche. So we even could see a Hurricane Carl here by the weekend. So again, watch for that as it crosses the Yucatan. And last but not least, the bigger picture, just showing you everybody. Invest 92L. There is Igor. There is Julia. Not much off the African coast right now. We're still watching this wave come off. There's still a lot behind it. So, but now we're starting to get later and later into the season. As we start to move towards the end of September, going to start shifting our attention more towards the United States for development. Cape Verde season should still continue for the next few weeks or so, but more and more likely, as you're seeing, these systems that will come off the Cape Verde will tend to start curving off to the out to sea, because we're getting more and more of this pattern starting to bring more and more of these troughs here across the Atlantic here. So the chances of something forming off the Cape Verde and moving all the way west is going to start getting less and less likely. So we'll be shifting our attention more towards the something like an Invest 92L kind of development. Well, that's it for today. I will have another tropical update for you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great day, and stay tuned to liveweatherblogs.com for your latest weather information.